So mid-portion Achilles tendinopathy, let's talk about it. This is a major problem for runners. I've had so many runners develop this problem. It is very different than traditional Achilles tendonitis, Achilles tendinopathy. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do for this, what to avoid, what causes it, and pretty much how to get back to rocking your run. So the Achilles tendon is that super fat, strong tendon that connects your calf muscle to your calcaneus, your heel bone. Along the bottom part of that, where the muscle turns into the tendon and then a little bit further down, there is a zone that doesn't have as much blood supply. Blood vessels drop down from the top, they come up from the heel, and where they meet, that blood supply gets a little thin, and for that reason, that spot is prone to a little bit of a slower recovery. And the root of all overuse running injuries is essentially that imbalance between how fast you break something down and how fast your body can heal it. It's as simple as that. And if that balance gets tipped towards the side where you're breaking things down too quickly for your body to heal overnight or before your next run, then over time, your body begins to try to put extra energy, extra resources to heal that tissue. It grows new blood vessels. Everywhere blood vessels go, nerves go, and that tissue becomes very sensitive. And that is classic, what we call mid-portion Achilles tendinopathy. And that is treated very effectively with load because tendons love to be loaded and certain exercises really help that. In fact, I've done a full video on the exact program that I recommend for my patients, which you can find. I'll leave a link to it. Today, though, we are talking about the difficult, challenging cousin of that problem, which is heel pain. Here's what's different about heel pain. Where that tendon drops down and it attaches into the heel, you have a number of structures that can be quite sensitive, but can also be disrupted by an imbalance of stress and strain versus healing. And that's exactly what's going on there at the heel. There's a bursa right there that can become swollen and painful. The tendon is vulnerable to compression. And so here's your first difference. Not only do you have pain down there at the very bottom of your heel on the back, but this was probably triggered by running uphill or doing something where you are stretching that tendon more than you normally would. That's probably the most important distinction, the most relevant trigger for what can cause this thing to develop. And so this is important because this guides our treatment principle. If overcompression, not just overstretch, like for mid-portion, but if overcompression of that tendon right where it attaches at the very bottom is part of the issue, then we need to control that. And so for my lower insertional Achilles folks, you've got to pause on stretching your ankle. You have to pause on doing heel drop exercises off of a step. Basically anything that's going to put that tissue on extra stretch, we're just going to hit pause. Not for long, but for long enough for your body to bring the inflammation and irritation down. And we're gonna fill that gap with some other exercises. For some people, a little heel lift will help because it's going to relax that angle ever so slightly. A small heel lift is an affordable and simple thing to try for a few weeks to see if offloading that a little bit during your normal day-to-day activities gives you that extra bit of healing power. So let's jump right into the things that you are going to do for this problem. Number one, you're going to do heel raises in standing, starting with your heel slightly elevated on a flat floor or surface. This is important. Your heel isn't dropping down, so you are not increasing the compression on that bursa, on that tendon. Start with both legs at the same time to give your injured side a little bit of extra help and support. And as you recover, switch to just doing individual sides one at a time to build extra strength. Isometric plantar flexion is where you basically are pushing through your toes, powerfully 65, 70, 75% of your maximum. So this has to be fairly powerful, but your ankle joint angle is not changing. So an isometric is a push and hold. I recommend a long hold with a fairly high amount of resistance. 20 seconds, even 30 seconds at that 65 to 75% of your maximum. If you have a leg press machine at the gym, you can use that. Load up the stacks. You're not trying to move the weight. You just want a stable surface that you can push on. Love to do this. Do 3 to 4 reps twice a day with those longer holds. Super helpful. If you have access to a gym with a seated calf raise machine, I do love that. But again, don't let your heel drop below your toes. Keep your heel slightly above your toes through the whole exercise. Super helpful. Lastly, I want to talk about modalities. Shockwave therapy has become much more prevalent, partly because the machines honestly have become more affordable. So more PT clinics, chiropractic clinics, physicians' offices have shockwave machines. There is some evidence that the shockwave machine is helpful for this problem, and the shockwave machine is disruptive. This is going to create a little bit of extra inflammation, which can stimulate your body to do a little bit extra healing. That is the goal and the hope with any of these provocative modalities like shockwave therapy. If you've had this problem for weeks and weeks, months and months, shockwave is probably going to be more effective for you because it's going to slam you back into healing mode. If this is pretty fresh, I think it's reasonable to try these other things first and not jump right into the shockwave, because you may not need to re-inflame your tissue in order to get it to heal properly. There are a few other things that are a little bit lower down on the priority list, but are absolutely helpful to address. One is kinetic chain mechanics, and that means basically how stable are you on that single leg. I often see this problem develop in runners, not on both sides, but on one side. Now, why is that? When we look closely, there's often hip weakness or stiffness in a joint, or some reason that that runner is moving just a little bit differently. They're spending a little extra milliseconds on that foot with every stride, and that extra time adds up over the course of 30 miles of running in a week, 40, 50, whatever mileage they might be doing. So address kinetic chain imbalances and compensations. And then what about when it's time to return to your activities? How do you know you can run again, or bike hard, or hike, whatever it is that you're doing? How do you know that you're ready to do that? The proof is in the exercise progression. When you get to the point where you are able to do repeated bounces on that single leg, say 20 times, 30 times, over the course of several days, each day do that a couple times, and you're not having any problem, then progress to doing some light jumps, pogo jumps, counter movement jumps, whatever kind of simple jumps you can do, just to test and see. Do some skipping, do some light jogging. Test this before you go out there and really hammer it, because sometimes things can get quiet, but they're not ready. So you need to be 100% certain that tendon is not going to get triggered before you really hammer it. Well, I hope this has been helpful for you. As always, thanks for joining me, and we will see you next time.